Hello and welcome to Modern Skills in English. Today, we're talking about something almost every student experiences, but very few understand: procrastination.
I had my entire weekend free to study for a big exam. I even made a perfect schedule, but I just didn't do it. I watched videos, I cleaned my kitchen, I did everything except the one thing I needed to do. Now it's Sunday night, the panic is starting, and I just feel so guilty and lazy. Why do I always do this to myself?
That feeling is incredibly common, Mark. But what if the reason you procrastinate has nothing to do with being lazy?
I don't see how. I had the time, I had the plan. The only thing missing was me actually doing the work. That sounds like laziness.
Most students believe that. They think procrastination is a failure of time management or discipline. So they download new apps, they make more detailed schedules, they try to force themselves with more willpower.
I've done all of that. None of it works for more than a day or two.
Exactly, because they are all trying to solve the wrong problem. The real problem isn't your schedule or your discipline, it's an emotional problem.
An emotional problem? What do you mean? It's just an exam. It's not emotional.
Think about that student who has to write a big, important essay. They avoid it for weeks. But in that time, are they doing nothing?
No, not usually. Like me, they are probably cleaning, organizing their music, helping a friend with a smaller project. Suddenly, they are very busy.
So it can't be laziness. A lazy person wants to do nothing. A procrastinator often does many things, just not the one thing that matters. This isn't a lack of energy. It's an act of avoidance. We are not avoiding the work itself. We are avoiding the feeling that the work might trigger.
A feeling? What kind of feeling?
It's different for everyone and for every task. For that big essay, maybe the blank page triggers a feeling of anxiety, a feeling of, I don't know where to start. Or maybe it triggers a fear of failure. What if I write something stupid?
Or for my exam, maybe it's the feeling of boredom. I just find history so dry, and the thought of spending 8 hours with my textbook feels physically painful.
Exactly. Your brain, like every human brain, has one primary job: move away from pain and toward pleasure. When you think about that boring history textbook, your brain predicts a negative feeling. It predicts pain. So it looks for a way out.
And the internet is an easy way out. Watching a video gives me a small, immediate feeling of pleasure. It's a very effective escape.
It's the perfect escape. So you aren't lazy for wanting to escape a bad feeling. Your brain is just doing its job. The problem is that we resist this entire process. We feel bad about feeling bad.
What do you mean we resist it?
We get angry at ourselves. We say, I shouldn't feel this way. I should be disciplined. I should want to study. We fight the feeling. We add a layer of guilt and shame on top of the original feeling of boredom or anxiety.
And that just makes it all worse. Now I'm not just avoiding the boring textbook, I'm also avoiding the feeling of being a lazy, guilty person. It's a whole cycle.
It is. We think we resist the task, but we are actually resisting the uncomfortable emotion. A difficult math problem isn't just about numbers, it's about resisting the feeling of being confused or not smart enough. Cleaning the garage isn't just about dirt, it's resisting the feeling of being overwhelmed by the mess.
Okay, this is starting to make sense. It's not that I'm broken. My brain is just trying to protect me from a feeling I don't want to feel. But this leads to a bigger problem. It feels like I need to be motivated to start. I'm waiting for the moment when I finally feel like studying history, and that moment never comes.
That is perhaps the most dangerous myth in all of education. The idea that motivation comes before action.
It feels true, though. On days when I feel good and motivated, I get so much done.
Yes, for tasks you enjoy or find easy, motivation can come first. But for the tasks we procrastinate on, the tasks that trigger negative feelings, motivation will not arrive. It's not coming to rescue you. Waiting for motivation is a form of procrastination itself.
So if we can't wait for motivation, what do we do? Just force ourselves? I've tried that. It's exhausting.
The answer is something much gentler and a little strange at first. You don't fight the feeling, and you don't wait for it to go away. You simply acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it? How?
You just name it, without judgment. You sit down at your desk, you look at the history book, and you feel that wave of, I don't want to do this. And instead of fighting it or running away, you just say to yourself, I am feeling a lot of resistance right now. I feel bored just looking at this book. I feel anxious about how much I have to learn. That's it.
That's it?
How does saying that help me actually start working?
Because you stop the war with yourself. The moment you acknowledge the feeling, you take away its power. It's no longer a big, scary monster you have to fight. It's just a feeling. It's a physical sensation in your body, maybe a tightness in your chest from anxiety, or a heavy feeling from boredom. You're not the feeling. You're the person noticing the feeling.
So I say I feel bored, and then what? Do I magically want to study?
No, you still won't want to study. But the goal isn't to want to study. The goal is just to start. And the next step is to make the start so small, so easy, that it feels almost ridiculous not to do it.
Like what?
Not study for 3 hours. Not even read one chapter. Just open the book to the correct page. That's the task. Can you do that?
Yes, of course.
And after you do that, the next task is read the first sentence. Can you do that?
Okay, I see where this is going. It's breaking it down into tiny pieces.
It's more than that. It's lowering the emotional barrier to entry. Your brain screams no to the idea of studying history for 3 hours because that predicts a lot of pain. But your brain doesn't fight the idea of reading one sentence. There's no feel there. It's too small to feel threatening.
That makes sense, but it still feels hard. If this strategy is so simple, just acknowledge the feeling and start small, why do so many good students still struggle with procrastination? I know people who get great grades, but are always stressed and wait until the last minute.
That's a great question, because knowing the strategy isn't the same as practicing it. Many good students get results through pure stress and adrenaline. They wait until the fear of failure becomes greater than the discomfort of doing the work. It's a painful way to live and study. They haven't learned the key skill.
Which is?
The ability to tolerate a small amount of discomfort. We live in a world that tells us we should feel good all the time. When we feel bored or confused or anxious, we immediately reach for our phones to make the feeling go away. We have lost the skill of just sitting with a slightly uncomfortable emotion for a few minutes.
So a good student isn't someone who never feels anxiety or boredom. They just handle it better.
A productive person has simply learned, consciously or not, that the initial discomfort of starting a task is temporary. They have the wisdom to know that the bad feeling, the boredom, the anxiety, is worst right before you begin. They have learned to tolerate that initial barrier because they know what's on the other side.
Momentum.
Exactly. Momentum. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. The hardest part of any task is going from 0 to 1. Once you read that first sentence, reading the second is a little easier. Once you write one bad paragraph, writing the next one feels possible. Your brain state begins to change. The task is no longer a scary, abstract idea. It's a concrete thing you are already doing.
So the entire system is about managing that first step. It's not about the whole staircase.
Precisely. Let's put it all together into one simple mental model. First, when you feel yourself avoiding a task, you identify the emotional trigger. What is the specific feeling the task is causing? Is it boredom, fear, confusion? Second, you stop fighting. You don't try to make the feeling go away. You just acknowledge it. Name it. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Third, you decide to tolerate that feeling for just a few minutes. You don't have to like it, you just have to allow it to be there.
And while I'm tolerating it, I take one tiny, almost laughably small step. Open the laptop, write the title of the document, find one pen.
Yes, because that first tiny action is all you need to start building momentum. The goal isn't to finish the project. The goal is simply to start. You can't steer a car that isn't moving.
It feels lighter. Thinking about it this way, the problem isn't me. It isn't some deep character flaw. It's just a pattern, a mental habit. I don't resist the work because I'm lazy. I resist it because my brain is trying to protect me from a feeling.
And now you have a strategy to work with your brain instead of against it. You're not fighting yourself anymore.
I think I get it now. It's like jumping into a cold swimming pool. Standing at the edge, thinking about how cold the water will be is the worst part. You can stand there for an hour, feeling anxious. But if you just accept it's going to be uncomfortable for 10 seconds and jump,
you find that after a minute, your body adjusts and you can start swimming. The initial shock is temporary. Procrastination is the act of standing at the edge of the pool forever.
This whole time, I've been trying to find a way to warm up the water, but the solution is just to get better at jumping in.
And that's the shift. It's not a battle against yourself anymore. It's an act of self-awareness. Pause. Hello, everyone listening. We hope this conversation was helpful.
If there's another student struggle you'd like us to talk about, something that causes you stress or confusion, please let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.